Yo, what's up, Superfit fam? This is Super Chad bringing you guys another amazing video. All right, this week we are working on rings, and I'm gonna be showing you guys my favorite exercises that I like to do on rings. I'm gonna show you guys 3 push exercises and 3 pulling exercises. All right, guys, let's get it. All right, so the first exercise I'm gonna show you guys is gonna be ring angels. These are one of my most favorite exercises. It's really good for working on planche and just working on straight arm strength. So here's how it goes. So you're gonna need a low ring setup, preferably about like 2 feet off the ground. And we're gonna make big giant circles with our arms. It's gonna look a little something like this, okay? So we keep my feet nice and straight, raise my arms out in front of me. I'm gonna open up my arms, make sure I keep my arms nice and straight, bring my arms all the way to my hips, and then pull back in right here to this push-up position. Then repeat the process. So it's almost like a long plank mixed with a chest fly. Really good exercise, really works on that straight arm strength, works on the bicep distal tendons, helps with the iron crosses a little bit, as well as Malteses and planche exercises, just so you can help build that straight arm strength, as well as that straight arm pushing strength. If you want to make it a little bit easier, you can make the rings a little bit higher. If you want to make it a little bit tougher, you can actually move the rings even lower to the ground, or you can even put your feet on top of something to make it even tougher. So I'll show a few more. All right, guys, so for my next favorite push exercise, we're gonna be doing push-ups, so ring push-ups. Now, this is a very common exercise, but there are some things that we can do to make it a little bit tougher, okay? Again, we're gonna be using a low ring setup. If you make it a little bit lower, it's actually gonna be a little bit tougher. Again, you can also put your feet on top of something to make it even tougher, or you can make the rings a little bit higher to make it a little bit easier for yourself, okay? Now, we're gonna do a normal push-up. We're gonna come into our chest, keep our hands by our sides, and then push back up, okay? Now, if we want to add a little bit of a challenge to it, if you're used to just normal push-ups and you want to take it up a level, you can do the push-up, come up, and then turn out at the top, okay? Now, if we want to take it up one more level, we can actually add a little bit of a pull element into the exercise, so we can actually go past the ring level and get closer to the ground, and it mixes it into kind of like a Hefesto slash back lever or bicep curl into the push-up. So what I'll do is assume the push-up position, come down to the bottom of the push-up, bring my hands to my sides, turn the rings out, come down, boop, and then push all the way back up and through the rings, okay? And of course, if you want to add the challenge, you can keep the rings turned out, okay? That's going to put a little bit more pressure on our bicep distal tendon, which will be good for planches and other types of straight arm skills just like that. So again, I come down, I turn my hands, come all the way down. If you can't go all the way down, that's all right. Keep the rings right there and then push through, okay? That one is a really, really tough exercise. I suggest that you guys go only as low as you feel possible and eventually build up to that point that you can go lower and lower and lower, okay, guys? That one's really tough. Give that one a go. All right, guys, so for my last pushing exercise I'm going to show you guys, we're going to be doing support hold ring flies. Now, this exercise does have a really big prerequisite of being able to do support holds or being able to hold yourself on the rings, okay? Now, if the only thing that you can do is hold yourself up on the rings, then instead you can just do that. But if you're a little bit more advanced, what you're going to do, you're going to jump into support hold, meaning you're going to hold yourself up on the rings. Then from there, you're going to keep your arms straight. You're going to open and then close. Open and then close, open and then close, just like that. Your goal is to go as far as you can without dropping to the ground. This is a really good exercise for, again, working on straight arm strength and also working on iron crosses. And of course, like I said, go as low as you can. You don't have to go so low that you fall and drop down to the ground. This will eventually, like I said, build that strength so you can do iron crosses and a lot more straight arm skills on the rings. Also, for this exercise, you want to make sure that you guys are doing it on a higher ring setup. so that your feet don't touch the ground. If you don't have space underneath for doing it on a higher ring setup, you can always do this in a tuck hold instead, okay guys? All right, now getting into some pulling exercises. The first exercise I'm going to show you guys is the offset pull-up. These are hands down probably one of my most favorite type of pull-ups. Really good for building one arm strength, well, single arm pull-up strength. All right, now when you do this exercise, you're gonna need to make sure that your rings are offset, meaning that one ring is higher than the other. And I highly suggest, super highly suggest, that you start with your weak arm. So if your weak arm is your right arm, you're gonna make sure that your right arm is gonna be the highest arm, and then your strong arm is the lowest arm. If your left arm is your weak arm, you're gonna start with your left arm, meaning that your left arm is grabbing the higher ring, your right arm is grabbing the lower ring, okay? So all you're gonna do, you're gonna offset the rings. You're gonna come up to the rings. You're gonna start from all the way below, and you're gonna try to pull up to this one ring. Just like this, okay? And that outside arm, your main goal is to try to use it as little as possible. Once you do one side, you gotta make sure that you guys do work the other side. Now, the thing about this exercise is that when you work one side, you're still working the other side, but not as much. So that's why I say start with your weaker side. That way your weaker side can catch up to your more dominant side, okay? So the next exercise we're gonna get into is another really good pulling exercise. We're gonna be working on skin to cats. Now, if you've worked on skin to cats before, you know that skin to cats are a really good exercise for trying to build your front lever as well as your back lever strength, okay? Now, for this exercise, you're gonna need the rings at about a medium height, just with enough space so you can get your feet through, and also so your feet won't touch the ground. When you do the skin to cat, you got a couple ways that you can do this. If you're a little bit more of a beginner, you can jump off the floor when you do the exercise. Meaning I go from here and I could jump, get over, and then jump, get over, just like that, okay? If you're a little bit more advanced, your goal is to try to keep your arms straight and to do the motion without touching the floor. So come over here, and I'm gonna go from here, hang, pull over, come down, almost touch the ground, and then pull back over the other way. Okay? And if you did notice, the way that I do turn my hands as I do the skin to cat is very, very, very important. When you turn your hands, you want to make sure that when you're facing forward or you're looking towards your belly, you want to make sure that your hands are facing away from your body like that. And as you turn backwards, you want to make sure that you turn your hands inside so that way your hands are facing this way. This will help build a lot more bicep distal tendon strength, which will lead the way into harder skills like Hephaestos, back levers, what do you call it? Also planche strength, Maltese strength, because back lever and, well, supinated grip back levers and planches and Malteses are very heavily related. But of course there's a hierarchy of those skills. So make sure that you are turning your hands the right way. So just in case you didn't see that, I'm gonna show that one more time. So as I go through the skin to cat, when I'm here, my hands are facing forward. As I come upside down, my hands are neutral. As I go upside down, my hands are backwards. And remember, if you need to jump off the ground, you can also jump off the ground to make it a little bit easier for yourself. If you want to make it a little bit harder, you got to check out some of my other videos talking about front lever strength, okay? All right, so for our final ring exercise, I'm gonna be showing you guys some different variations of flies. Flies are a really, really good exercise. If you do a lot of pushing exercises, I highly suggest that you incorporate some type of flies into your workout because it helps to open up your chest and it stops you from getting any type of bad posture or closing over or hunching of your chest, okay? Which can lead to shoulder problems, headaches, migraines, and tightness between all the muscles of the traps and everything like that. So these are a really, really good exercise, really good, how do you say it? Very good therapeutic exercise. And you can also make it as tough as You can also change the difficulty on it to make it a little bit easier and a little bit harder, depending on what you want to work on, what rep range you really want to work on that helps you get to your goals, okay? All right, so what we're gonna do, you're gonna need a low ring setup. So you need the rings a little bit longer. Now from there, I'm gonna lean back on the rings. I'm gonna make sure I have some tension on there. From there, we have 3 different variations we can do. We can do an overhead raise. We can also go out to the sides as a rear delt fly. And we can also go out diagonally. So typically what I would call these are T's, Y's, and I's. Or you could just call them different variations of rear delt flies. Like I said, a really, really good exercise. Now, if you want to make it a little bit harder, all you got to do is walk your feet closer to the anchoring point of your rings. So my rings are anchored there, so I'd walk my feet a little bit closer to it to put more of my body weight onto the ring. So it would look like this. So I'm here, dig my feet into the ground, overhead raise, out, out. There I had to use actually a little bit of momentum, because when I walk my feet that close, that exercise becomes really, really, really tough. Now, if that's too tough for you, all you gotta do is keep your feet further away from the anchoring point. So now my feet are closer to myself. Now from here, it's a lot easier. There's less of my body weight actually on the rings, okay? Boom, boom. So I have my T pulling out to the side. I have my Y pulling up that way, boom. And then I have my I up that way. All right, Superfit fam, I hope you guys really enjoyed all those exercises. If you guys have any questions or comments about those exercises, please leave it down in the comments below. I'll try to get back to you guys as soon as I can, of course. If you guys are interested in getting a set of rings, I will have down in the description below. I'm actually affiliated with the people who actually manufacture those rings. They're called Vulcan Sports, and you can actually get, like, I think you can actually get a 5% discount off on the rings. Just use my link that's down in the description below. As always, stay healthy, stay fit, and peace. See you guys in the next video.